Hello Internet, welcome to Daddy's Cooking. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys how I do my meat prep. Meat prep in our culture is very intricate. I will show you guys the step-by-step on how it's done and my preferred method of storage. We have a lot to cover today, so let's get into it. On the screen, those are the list of ingredients that are going to be needed for this video. In the meat part, the red part will be beef stew and pork, and you can have poultry, which is going to be chicken, and then fish, which is going to be salmon. So the first order of business, as you can see on the screen, it will be the beef stew beets. So in a container, you're going to put all the beets together. Now that the beef is in the container, the next thing we're gonna do is gonna add salt. Just put a deliberate amount. There's no set measurement for it. After that, we're gonna add the vinegar. Again, just be deliberate about the amount. And after that will be the lime juice. I use the lime juice container, but you can buy your own lime and press it if you wanted to. And then you fold the whole thing together. And once everything is said and done, you just add water. You need to put enough water to kind of cover the very top of the meat pile. So when it's all said and done, we're gonna have it sit around for around 20 to 30 minutes. Now the next thing we're gonna need is hot water, or what I say, boiling water. So in a pot, just put some water, put it on the stove and wait for it to boil. So after the 20 to 30 minute mark, all you need to do is bring it back to the sink, drain it, and rinse it out. Make sure you rinse it thoroughly because you need to get rid of the extra salt and vinegar that are currently present in the meat. So keep rinsing until you feel comfortable that all the salt is no longer present in the meat. After that, the next step is to take the boiling water that you had on the stove and pour it on top of it. Now, this portion is really important because you don't want the hot water to be in the meat for too long. So I'm saying less than a minute. So just stir it around, and around like the 30-second to 1 minute mark, just drain it, and we'll be ready for the next step after that. Now we're ready for the seasoning part. We're gonna be using the bay spice and the ground garlic. I usually use a 2-to-1 ratio. So right now you're gonna see on the screen that I added 4-part bay spice, which is basically 4 tablespoons of bay spice, and 2 tablespoons of ground garlic. And all you have to do right now is just mix it up. A quick note, if you're using a bigger flat, you might find that you don't have enough spice. So all you have to do is add the bay spice and basically half it and add the garlic on it. So basically that's all that's gonna be for the spicing in the whole video. There will be no salt and then no other ingredient because basically we're gonna be using it as the base, and when we need to cook it later on, we're gonna be adding on to it. So now my preferred method of storage all these in the fridge is the Ziploc bag. So I will get a Ziploc bag. You can get a vacuum seal if you wanted to. I don't own one, so I use a Ziploc bag. So basically the portion I will need to feed my family is what I will add on the Ziploc bag. So next time when I take it from the fridge, I'll just grab the portion, thaw it out overnight, and then just cook it later on. So right now I'm gonna put them aside after I'm done adding all this, and basically they're gonna be sitting out on the stove for another half hour, so the spice can literally get marinated into the whole thing. So now the next one would be a pork shoulder. So the reason I love the pork shoulder, it's really tender, it's really versatile, you can do a lot with it. So we're gonna take it, put it on the board, and we're gonna cut it up. So at this point, this is the moment, like when you inspect it, if you see like a part that you want to clean out, just at this point, just go ahead and clean it out. So when you feel comfortable with the amount of cleaning you've done, this is time for you to split it in half. I do it, but because I have limited space, obviously, but if you have a bigger board, you can just go ahead and start cutting it up. Again, as you're cutting, you can still trim the fat if you want to, because some people, they enjoy this kind of fat, but I don't. At least not that much. And just keep cutting to your desired size. You can cut it a bigger size if you want to, or you can cut it a smaller size if you want to. At this point, it's all to you and your preferences. Now, since we have a lot of meat to cut, I'm not gonna bore you watching me cutting meat. With the magic of editing, there we go. So now we're done, and we're gonna move to the next step. Now, same as for the beef, we're gonna add a deliberate amount of salt, deliberate amount of vinegar, and a deliberate amount of lime juice. Again, the lime juice, you can choose to use the one I use, or you can press your own. Fold everything together, add water, and make sure the water goes all the way to the top. And all that's left to do at this point is let it sit for around 20 to 30 minutes. At the 20 to 30 minute mark, bring it back in, fold it again if you want to, drain it, and rinse it out the same way we did with the beef stew. Now that you're done rinsing it and you feel comfortable that there is no more salt on it, the next step is not gonna be the boiling water. In pork, we do not use boiling water. So we're gonna move straight to the next step, which is spicing it. Again, the spicing process, or we should say the marinating process, is again 4 tablespoons of bay spice and 2 tablespoons of garlic. Now fold the whole thing together. So now I realized that the spice wasn't enough, so I added 1 tablespoon of bay spice and 1 tablespoon of ground garlic. I should have added 2 tablespoons of bay spice, but I was just wanting to see how it's gonna be at the end. And now that I feel comfortable with the mixture, I just gotta do the same thing I did before with the beef stew. I'm just gonna put them in a Ziploc bag. Again, if you have a vacuum seal or whatnot, you can do that as well. If you don't want to use a Ziploc bag, you can use a Tupperware if you want to. But any container that can actually keep it from getting freezer burn. Again, I'm just putting the portion that I need for my family when I'm actually cooking it later on. Next order of business, chicken. So now take the flat of chicken and put it in a container of your choice. And same with the other two, we're gonna add salt, a lot of it, or deliberate amount, I should say, vinegar, and lime. Now, I actually ran out of lime. I used lemon juice in this one. So, I mean, it's not the best. I find lime is stronger than lemon, but you can always substitute it with lemon. Fold the whole thing together. Add water. And let's sit for 20 to 30 minutes. So now after the 20 to 30 minutes waiting period, just bring it back to the sink, drain it and rinse it until you feel comfortable there is no more salt and vinegar left on the poultry. Now, if you want to deskin your chicken, the next step is the perfect time I found that is easier for you to skin the chicken. Because prior to that, I find the skin hangs on to the meat. And after the brining period, I find like it's easier to just pull it. So this is the time for me where I just skin my chicken. So the next step, we're gonna get some hot water, pour it onto it, wait around a minute, no more than a minute, because you actually don't want to cook the meat. You just want to get it ready for the marinated portion. So once you're done with the hot water, we're gonna go ahead and marinate it. Again, 4 tablespoons of bay spice and 2 tablespoons of ground garlic. Mix it all up. Get your container of choice and portion it out. Leave it out for a half hour. I usually leave it for 45 minutes before I actually put them in the freezer. Now, the next one will be salmon. You can do the same thing with any type of fish. Basically, take the flat, cut it up, and put it in a container of choice. Now you know the drill by now. We're gonna add some salt, deliberate amount again, vinegar, deliberate amount, and lime juice, which is deliberate amount as well. A quick note, if you actually press your own lime, just make sure you put the pulp in it. So after this point, you add some water and let sit. But now for the fish, what I found, you need to let it sit for more than 30 minutes, around the 45-minute mark. I don't know why, but it's like the gaminess of it is less pronounced. So you let it sit for that amount of time. When it's done, you just rinse it as usual as we did previously. Now, we do not put hot water in fish, because if you put the hot water for like that 1 minute, you will cook it. You will actually cook the whole fish. You don't want it cooked because at this point, it has no spice in it. It has nothing in it. So just rinse it out and go to the marinated portion. So now when it's all rinsed and you feel like there is no more salt in it, you just add 4 tablespoons of bay spice and 2 tablespoons of garlic. Mix it all up, and with the magic of editing, you put it in your container of choice. Now the next meat we're gonna be tackling will be ground meat. So again, I usually love adding like half and half pork and half beef, but this is separate from the meatball video that I had previously on the channel. And I realized that not everybody have to feed 5 people, and I had 20 meatballs. So I'm gonna have a separate video on how to actually store the meatballs, because the meatball is actually part of my meat prep, but this week I'm not making meatballs, so yeah. So now that I've done adding the pork, we're gonna go ahead and add the beef part. So this one is simple. Just put them in a container, put the spices, so which is 4 tablespoons of bay spice and 2 tablespoons of garlic each. I mean, the reason it's on separate containers is for it to be more manageable. Now, all you have to do is fold the whole thing together. And since I realized that I don't have enough spice, I just add more. So again, 2 tablespoons of bay spice on both, since the other one is the same amount. and 1 tablespoon of ground garlic. So at this point, all I have to do is fold the whole thing together. Repeat the process on the other container if you have 2 containers, because you might have bought 2 small flats instead of like 2 big tubes from Costco. Then all you have to do is portion it out on a Ziploc bag, Tupperware, vacuum seal. It doesn't matter, whatever container you choose. Well, I believe that's all for today, folks. Please let me know your experience in the comments section down below. In the meantime, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to be notified on all my future videos. Until next time, have a good one.